hey, you got to start somewhere, and why not start with the stuff that I've got? Because I still don't have the power in the shop to where I can hook up the compressor up on it. But we're going to get this car put together and back on my recreate my first car. We're going to start in the back.
Well, can't work on the car like I said. Got started on the chunk for this 9-inch that come out of my, this is actually, again, I'm going to try to find those other videos. This is actually the rear end that was in the car. My car that I'm recreating back that me and my dad put in there like 79 or 80. It's a 9-inch rear end out of a, I think it was a 57 or 58 Ford station wagon, which made it bolt right in a Falcon or a Mustang, something like that, 50-something inches. We'll measure it. And that's all got to be done before I can drive the car, so might as well just go ahead and do that while I'm still waiting on the electricity to get, I got to get the electricity from there all the way to the cabin, and it's just been so cold and rainy and a muddy mess, we've not been able to do that, and but we're going to make do with what we got, and so I get this thing in there and get it cleaned up and ready, painted, all that stuff. So here we go. This is all part of it too.
I can't believe there's actually a part for the car that I really want to build that's in the shop.
Oh wow, I'm super excited. Waiting on some parts and stuff for my little Project 65 two-door post. In the meantime, had a couple people ask me about my recreating my first car. So I got some stuff that I can finish up on it. Anybody knows what that is? Yeah, baby. So, and on top of that, got some pretty good news. I'll let you know a little bit more about that on this right here on the 64 hardtop. So we'll see. Thanks for watching.
My goodness, let the fun begin. Dirty work. I'm talking about dirty work. But hey, look at that. Yeah, I did that. It left a mark.
Wow, does this bring back some memories? It's crazy. I said it over and over, but this is actually the rear end that was in my very first car, the one I'm trying to recreate now. Okay, say that, and I can back it up. I done an earlier video on it back months and months ago when I went and got this thing where my uncle.
There it is. I thought I had a picture right there where I found it in my uncle's garage.
Had took it out of the car and sold it to him. And here's one of the things here that when I first put the Magnum 500 wheels on it, I didn't get stupid lug nuts tightened up, and one of them come off, and that thing went sliding down the road. And if you remember the name of Bill, which is the guy that owned the yellow car that I'm building back, and the guy that actually gave me I found this thing over here. I couldn't remember if I showed this or not, but when I went and put my first application in, when I was leaving the car lot with my dad, I got it through here, and look here. First one was Jess Duff. Second one was Bill York. Well, this guy right here, ironic enough, that was from my very first resume I ever made, that's the guy that owned the yellow car that I'm building back. So how cool is that? It's not my car, but I've known that car, and I know the man that owned it pretty much my whole life, ever since I was like 13, 14 years old when my dad first got this thing. So anyway, I was sliding down through here and made this mess up right here. And if I remember right, now I was wrong, it does have a 370 something gear in it like I remember. And I remembered it was open differential because we had taken it out to put the into the race car. But I messed up. I thought it was like a 31 spline or something, and it's not. It's a 26 or 8, whichever one it is. I counted. I don't remember which one it is. And so, but, oh, here it is. And then, but right here is the pause unit that's going in it. And same gears on it and everything. Check it out. Red paint that I painted the brake drums with back in the 80s. And check it out. You can see the yellow on it. If I'm not mistaken, because I have messed up on some of this stuff, I'm pretty sure that these were Lakewood ladder bars. And I think they were the ones that were yellow. And I painted them black where nobody would know I ever even put them on the car. And they were on there for a long time before anybody ever even knew they was on the car. So that's where I'm at now. We're gonna get this rear end cleaned up and get the rear end built, because hey, even though I can't work on the car right now, this is all part of it. It's got to get done. So I'm gonna be thrashing on this thing. Y'all, cross your fingers, wish me luck, throw up a prayer for me. I really do want to drive this thing on a power tour with my son in June. Thanks for watching. And the guy that helped me on the Gulf Station, Bill, the one I'm fixing the yellow car for, you heard me say it over and over. Should I fix this, or should I leave that messed up like that and just dress it all up and paint it all up nice, but leave that right there just for the memory? What should I do? Should I fix it, or should I leave it just for the nostalgia and the proof that this is the rear end that was in my very first car? All right, something just come to mind to me when I was taking this off. When we had these ladder bars put on this thing, I didn't really have the money to pay those guys, and the guys that done it was old Burns Brothers. If you're around any kind of drag racing back in the 70s and stuff, you may know them, or some dirt tracking and stuff. Some loved them, some hated them. They always done good for me. And they let me come over, and the stuff that they could show me to do that I could do, I did, to where we could afford to put these things in. So if I'm not mistaken, I actually put these things on back in the 80s myself. I remember that I had to rethread these, one end of these, I can't remember, to make them go in there the way we wanted them to go in. I remember working on them things, putting those threads back in there. Isn't that crazy when you start messing with something, the memories that'll come back to you? So people think old cars is just for nostalgia and old cars, but for a lot of us, me included, it's the memories that go along with these old cars. And I have really got some good ones that go with this thing. So I'm gonna zip this baby off here, and I'll take these off. But I am almost positive that that was one of the things that I done to help to be able to afford to put these things under. Because, well, I'd imagine it's going to have quite a bit of break them loose stuff put on it. So, oh yeah, that's froze. So I'm going to soak all that up, spray all that down while I got this out before I drain. And I got a little bit left in there after I done it. I'll drain that out, finish taking all the rest of the stuff apart. I need to get new brakes. Check it out. No emergency brake. I had like a block that I had in the back seat of my car, and I used that for emergency brake. What about that? Wow.
Them old ladder bars sure did make a lot more difference than them old slapper bars I had on it when I first got it running.
Good thing about making some of these videos where I'm building a car, this will give me a reference on where everything goes. I'm sure the block right here that goes up to the front must have been single coming back to it. That'll go right there. Obviously going to need some new brake lines. So I can take all that right there off. And then I got me figured out how that goes. Actually, all the brake stuff looks decent. Of course, I'm going to replace all that, the little wheel cylinder, whatever, brake cylinder and all that stuff like that. So anyway, must have just put some brakes on this thing, because it looks like it's got practically new brake pads on it. But of course, we'll change all that. So now I know where all this goes, and give me some lines and stuff, and man, I'm on my way. Excited.
Man, if I could just keep this work pace up right here, I'd have this thing done in no time. But I got all the way until, well, June the 5th. Golly, after I played that back after editing, I thought, shoot, that don't sound like a very long time. I can make it though.
I just noticed something while I was cleaning on this thing. No, gears must have been meshed in there pretty good. Look here. Don't have any metal shavings hardly at all in that thing. So that's pretty good. And you'll notice, even though it's old, that old oil's, or the rear end dope is pretty good because I switched this thing. I used to have a 513 spool, believe it or not, that I would switch back and forth out of this rear end depending on what we were doing with it or whatever. So it is getting pretty frequent oil changes. So looks like I just need to clean everything up and get that chunk built, and we'll have a piece of it done. Okay, I don't have any air, but I do have battery operated stuff, so this will be slow go, but this will be better than not getting nothing done. And it's all got to be done anyway, so it's actually coming off pretty good. Looks like back in the day I just sprayed some old Carlon undercoating up under here. Looks like it's got like 4 or 5 layers of undercoating on it. And luckily it's old and dried up, so it's coming off actually pretty easy. Which I'm going to paint the rear end. Should I paint it shiny black, or should I paint it to match the car? Let me know what you think. I can't believe it. When you got so many tools, you forget you bought a new one. Man, this thing's awesome. Oh, my batteries is dead, but it's awesome. Look at that. Heck yeah. Man, that's going to be great. Glad I remembered that. Big dummy. All right, so we're back here tearing this rear end the rest of the way apart. I missed it over here. My buddy Steve come over and we got us a plan. I got to go get a few things tomorrow. So the biggest thing I got to do is get this thing cleaned up. I thought these things were welded on here. I might have said that earlier. They're not. This here is welded, but the brackets were not. So what I done was I marked that where it was at in my car. Now, this one may be a little bit different, so we'll be able to move them around there and everything. And I've got these right here knocked loose, so all this is welded up on it, which I'm going to make it look nicer. But we got us a plan, so hopefully first of the week next week, we'll be putting the pause unit in that chunk over there next week and get ready to put this thing back together. I'm going to try to get this straightened up and get it painted next week. And so that's where we're at on this old rear end. Well, I got the worst of it off with the wire brush. Run all 4 batteries dead. I'm going to I got to clean all this right here up where they cut that off there with the torch, which didn't hurt none, it's covered up, but I'm going to smooth it up good because I'm going to paint this the color of the car actually. So now I just got to go back and do just a little bit of final stuff on it, but I got the bulk of it. Grind that off there and stuff. So, but shoot, rest of it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Pretty excited about it. So there we go. A little more prep work, prime and paint that thing, and we'll have some rear end put together in no time, then we'll go on to the transmission. And backup plan number 1, which won't be a bad backup plan, if I can't get the other car done, we can drive the old Goldie. We can drive the Ranchero. Be a cool old road trip. So all's not lost even if we don't get the other car done.
And if you made it this far, this is what sparked a new interest in recreating my first car back together. My son wants to take a road trip. It'll be almost 1,600 miles for me and almost 2,600 miles for him.